there are some warning signs and symptoms that can tell you that your organization is ready for a new accountability system. One of the warning signs is that individuals are driving the results, but your teams are suboptimized. So that people are focused on their parts of the organization, but yet your teams are not delivering as you expect. So projects are taking too long, potentially, or people are being redirected to different initiatives because the leaders in their areas have goals that they need to get done. Another sign that you might want to be looking at your accountability system is that you have too many projects in the pipeline. What's happening when you have too many projects in the pipeline is that all the leaders are looking at what they need to do in their part of the business, so they're kicking off initiatives to really drive that accountability, which then creates this bigger portfolio. So you're not really connecting them in a way that holds them accountable. Another indicator that accountability is a problem is that your processes are ineffective. So that what's happening, I find, and when I talk about the process, I'm talking end-to-end, cross-functional processes. You might have individual sub-processes where they're accountable for that, but you're not driving it from the perspective of the end-to-end process, and you have no one or no team accountable for the whole. There's typically never a team or a leader defined accountable for an end process. I've worked with lots of leaders where we've mapped out their most macro process, and when we talk about who's accountable for what, they're very clear on who owns a part of it. No one can tell me who owns the whole. And they don't define it because they're uncomfortable putting a leader in charge of, let's say, or holding them accountable because they don't have authority. So again, that whole piece of not having authority is affecting their ability to not accept accountability, yet the accountability system isn't requiring them to accept accountability. So the other piece about accountability is that it doesn't go alone. So whenever I talk to an organization that's having an issue with accountability, it's typically coupled with an issue with productivity. So if I don't have priorities set, and I don't have common shared priorities, I have nothing to connect the accountability to from that perspective. So part of Matrix Management 2.0 from a model perspective is in itself, it's a system and is interdependent. But if you have leaders driving their own goals, if you have silos, you probably have an accountability issue that needs to help. If you have teams that are struggling to get things done, you probably have an accountability issue. If you're not delivering your strategy, you potentially have an accountability issue. So accountability is a pivotal driver to get results done. If you have teams and leaders overcommitting and not delivering on their commitments, you've got an accountability problem. The process itself is not designed. Another symptom is if you're actually assigning accountability and telling people what they're accountable for, it's time for an update. In a matrix, there's no authority in that horizontal, so you can't tell anyone what to do. So we need to start with a request. We need a front-end process to plan so that we can negotiate. That's what accountability needs to be updated to.